If you're like, I don't have a passion right now, that's okay. If there's something you're interested in that you know that increasing your physical ability is going to help you increase your ability to do it. I think that's what we're saying here. Hello, and welcome to Docworking, the Whole Physician Podcast. I'm Jill Farmer, one of the life coaches at Docworking.
And I'm Gabriella and the other life coach at Docworking. And today we are going to talk about how your passion can help you get healthy. So, Jill, a lot of physicians will say, I just don't have time to fit exercise into my schedule. Self-care kind of gets pushed aside because the schedules are busy and the demands can be a lot. So, what has passion got to do with it?
That's right. Because a lot of times I think passion is what gets taken out of the equation, especially for busy physicians. And so then a lot of times they'll be like, well, I know what the healthy BMI is for me. I know how many minutes of exercise I should be getting to meet the guidelines that are out there for long-term physical fitness and to help, stave off some of the downfalls of healthy aging that we don't want to have. They know it, and then but I have a hard time making myself do it, right? It's what people who do a lot of research in this area call the knowing doing gap, right? We have the facts about why we should exercise, but the doing part of it is tough to do. And what I think you and I have talked about in the past, and we both believe, is that when you have some passion or interest that you already have or that is burgeoning in you, be an ingredient to help you motivate your movement, it makes it a lot easier to get that ball rolling. And I love the example that you've talked about, which was drumming, which is one of your great passions and skills, actually became a motivator for more exercise and movement for you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. Part of my passion ever since I landed in New York City, that was my first job as an attending. And I've always wanted to learn how to play what is called djembe drumming from West Africa. And of course, I'm in New York City. I'm going to find a class. And so, yes, I know I need to exercise and I should. I wish I could, but I just did not see how that would work. I went to my first few lessons and I realized that out of a 2-hour class, I could only keep up about 5 to 10 minutes. Why? Because it's a bunch of guys and me, and all of them are drumming a mile a minute. I'm still trying to learn the rhythm and at the same time just being able to keep up even with 1 or 2 notes. And my arms were getting tired. My back was getting tired. Everything was not working. And I was getting very frustrated because it's like, I'm going to continue with this class, but I have to last the 2 hours. There were very few interruptions. It was 2 hours straight, seriously. So that was my incentive to sign up for the gym. So I would go from work directly to the gym, then either go to class or go home. But I would end up going at least 2 to 3 times, working on toning and physical conditioning and aerobics. And it was a combination of the two. Why? Because really, I didn't care about the exercise. What I cared about was to make sure I could keep up in class. And once I got to the point where I could do the whole 2 hours, that was, it's like I climbed Mount Everest. And I was able not only to keep up with it, but to specialize in certain instruments, to learn more rhythms, to really get stronger. And that was my incentive. That would be an example of tying physical exercise, which of course has wonderful benefits, to my passion. And there is now the incentive to go as opposed to just going for going's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah. And I think it's passion, or we'll even lower the bar a little bit, an interest of yours, right? If you're like, I don't have a passion right now, that's okay. If there's something you're interested in that you know that increasing your physical ability is going to help you increase your ability to do it, I think that's what we're saying here. And being willing to kind of take the silos down and let those dots connect across. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, I have to do this thing I hate, physical exercise at the gym. And then that's squeezing out the other stuff that I really like, in your case, which would be music. And so to look for ways to bring those together. Travel is a common one. I know a lot of physicians, for various reasons, really enjoy travel. And so with one physician client recently, she was saying when she really let herself plan this trip that she'd always been waiting to do with a good friend, across continents, it's a big trip that's going to require a lot of walking and hiking. She was always waiting until she got in shape to plan the trip. What she discovered is by planning the trip, suddenly she's really excited to get up and set her alarm early to take a long walk and do some hiking on weekends because she really wants to be in the best physical shape she can be in. And this is somebody who's clinically overweight, laments that greatly, hasn't really given much focus to movement, physical health, or exercise. And in the last 3 months, has regularly and steadily exercised without fail because this interest, this passion for taking a trip meaningfully with somebody she's wanted to go with, she let that be the incentive instead of waiting for some mythical time when she was suddenly going to get in shape to let her do the thing that she wanted to do. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. And you bring up some really interesting points because then it's like, putting the cart behind the horse. In other words, we think that the cart behind the horse means that I have to get in shape to be able to do XYZ. So somehow it's going to happen and it doesn't. But putting the cart behind the horse means let me schedule it, plan for it, put it in my calendar, make a decision that that's what I'm going for, right? And then take the steps I need to take to get ready for that. To be able to say, you know what, I'm not ready for this now, but I'm going to be if it's in my calendar. If it's not in the calendar, it's not going to happen. So I think that that brings up a really, really interesting point in terms of tying passion to physical exercise or to getting in shape or to feel better about your body in general. You don't have to run a triathlon, but it's really to just feel good about yourself. Then get that deadline in first and you give yourself the opportunity to plan for it. I think that's a good point, Jill.
I know you guys are finding this as interesting as I am. And we have lots more coming up right after this important message from Board Vitals.
Preparing for your board exam or looking for a quick and convenient way to earn CME? Study for your board exam and fulfill your CME requirements with Board Vitals. Board Vitals is the leading online board review platform with question banks and CME activities available in more than 50 medical and healthcare specialties. Board Vitals questions are loaded with detailed explanations, reference materials, and evidence-based rationales. And now you can take your studying on the go with Board Vitals mobile app. People who use Board Vitals question banks have a higher pass rate by 9% from the national average and an 18% reduction in study time. Board Vitals has helped more than 400,000 practitioners pass their board exams. They offer a free trial for all their question banks, and they offer a 100% pass guarantee when you sign up for a subscription of 3 months or more. Sign up today and get a special discount for being part of the Docworking community by using the code DocWorking10. That's DOCWORKING and the number 10. That's a 10% discount code just for being part of our community with the discount code DocWorking10 for boardvitals.com. That's BOARDVITALS.com.
I know my husband and I enjoy traveling together a lot, and he's got a really highly demanding job. And so we've discovered that when we take trips where he kind of has to be away from the phone and the computer, that's really good for his brain, and it's good for us in our, relationship of being married 29 years now to have that time. And so we planned a bike trip for later this summer where we're going to be riding from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C. on a bike trip where we're going with a company. So somebody else is going to kind of be there to sag wagon with us. It's been such a beautiful kind of launch for me to get really refocused and dedicated to cycling and cycling some longer distances, which I, meant to get around to, but I hadn't really gotten to for a while, and getting back to doing some more intensive Pilates and things to get my core strength. Cause I know when I'm sitting on a bike for a lot of hours, that it's really good when my core can support what my back's doing. And again, it wasn't, I just want to get in shape for the sake of being in shape. I mean, it's good for being in health, but it was having this planned activity that's going to require some physical stamina. I just really found that gave me an injection of motivation. And so that's our invitation, I think, to all of you is there something you enjoy doing, and can you let your physical movement give it an injection of motivation to help you enjoy it even more? I think that's the core question we're asking today.
Agreed. Tied to enjoyment.
Yeah, let that passion be the fuel that gets you moving again. And the payoff is that increased physical health and a shorter gap between that knowing and doing that I think we're all looking for when we're looking for the whole health around everything we're doing in our lives. So thanks, as always, fun conversation, good ideas. We hope you take away a little bit of spark and inspiration and move that into your own increased health and wellness as well. Until next time, thanks for listening to Docworking, the Whole Physician Podcast. Thanks all of you for tuning in to listen to this edition of Docworking, the Whole Physician Podcast. We have something new and exciting to tell you about, so I want you to hop over to docworking.com. Docworking Thrive is getting ready to launch in a very short time. And what that is a subscription service for physicians. It includes an excellent self-paced course called STAT that is all about quick wins for living well. It is group coaching. It is a Facebook group where you have a chance to connect to other physicians and coaches to ask questions about things that are happening in your life. And it also includes weekly video tips to come and give you advice on important things in your life. So we're really excited about this. The price is almost too good to be true. It's so good. And I really think it's going to be a fabulous support network for physicians. So we hope you hop on over, check out Docworking Thrive today. And until next time, we'll see you on Docworking, the Whole Physician Podcast.
Hello, and thank you for listening. This is Amanda Taryn. I'm the producer of the Docworking podcast. If you enjoyed our podcast, please like and subscribe. We would also love it if you checked out our website, which is docworking.com. And you can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. On Instagram, we are Docworking1, and that is with the number 1. When you check us out on social, please let us know what you would like to hear on the podcast. Your feedback really means a lot to us. And if you're a physician with a story you'd like to tell, please reach out to me at amanda@docworking.com to apply to be on the podcast. Thank you again, and we look forward to talking with you on the next episode of Docworking, the Whole Physician Podcast.